How you doing, Rob? How's everything?
I'm excellent, man. Excellent.
Just over here today to talk about your book, Transcendence. What was your motivation behind writing Transcendence?
Well, it came from my experience growing up. I grew up in the 80s, 70s and 80s, graduated high school in 1987. During the 80s, there was a lot of incidents that took place in New York City that made the atmosphere racially thick with tension. And as it turned out, I happened to have liked 2 Italian girls in my school. And I didn't approach them because of all the stuff that was going on around in the city. And years later, when I got a little older and I reflected upon the time period in my life, it made me a little upset to think that I had allowed society to determine whether or not I would pursue a relationship. And so I wrote a little book about it. I created a story in which a young man has an opportunity to pursue a relationship with a very attractive, very sincere young woman who happens to be from another race. And I gave him the opportunity to overcome some of the challenges that I didn't. So that's pretty much what motivated me to pen Transcendence.
And what encompasses the book? What material is in that book that you want people to get from reading that book?
I would like people to get the absurdity of racism.
Okay.
In addition to the adventure that takes place in the story, is also a little bit of history that reviews movie history and shows the images of blacks, some of the philosophies that went through corporate America during the time at the turn of the century that just were really ridiculous. Things that made it seem like blacks were inferior or not created by God to be equal human beings. Just a lot of things that formed the basis for the racist philosophies that pretty much supported this country from its inception. So I want people to see the absurdity of it, but I also want them to see the flip side of how beautiful something can be when you pursue something that's authentic, something that's true, and it's void or absent of a lot of the restraints, the social constraints that people put on us for nothing.
Now, I've read your novel, and my favorite part is the first page and the first line, when you state that the fabric of humanity is stitched together by a common thread. What do you mean by that comment?
I believe that all of us as human beings have this desire to be comfortable, to be ultimately in a place where we can relax. I know that humans, we like to perform and we like to entertain, but if you think about it, even at the deepest level, an athlete, he doesn't train for years and diet for years to be in the best condition to do that for the rest of his life. He does it so that he can make a good salary. Yes, he has some great experiences, he gets the glory, but when he retires, he wants to be able to just relax. He wants to be himself. Entertainers may love to be out on stage, singing in front of thousands of people or acting and displaying their talents in front of millions of people, but when they go to the mall or they want to go to a restaurant, a lot of times they want anonymity so that we can just sit back and be who we really are. And I think that that's the ultimate pursuit of us, is that we want to be secure, we want to be just who we are. And when we pursue relationships, we want to have somebody with us who can accept us for just who we are.
Now you're working on the sequel to this book. Tell us a little bit about the sequel.
The sequel is turning out much better than the original, I must say. The relationship between the young man and the young woman who are from 2 different races, that relationship develops, it advances. We get a chance to see trust. We get a chance to see broken trust. We get a chance to see a number of things. We get a chance to look at a little more into his family, his history, and there's a lot more action in it. There's a lot more intrigue. The story goes deeper. It gets very complex, but it's a mind twister as well as something to tug at the heart.
Now your book is also on sale currently, right?
Yes.
Where can we find it at?
Right now, it's on the web at www.lulu.com/358258. That'll take you right to the website where you can review the story and buy the book. But it's also in a bookstore in Whitehall, Pennsylvania at Borders. And it's going to be at a bookstore near you soon.
Thanks, man.
You got it. Thank you.